Hi, Salam Alaikum, sisters and brothers. Suleiman Rahim here. Welcome. Let's slay some demons. Sisters and brothers, I had planned to prepare a book to put on Amazon, another means of distributing this information, because pretty soon, internet, social media, and all that will not be available. But as time has it, things move a little quicker than I expected. As I've been warning you, there will be a time of a lull before the storm. And that lull will be approximately 6 months from November 2020, and then the storm would begin. And that would have put us somewhere between May and June. I started on the book a while back, haven't completed, but I'm not further along enough to go ahead and complete it, because things happen very quick. I knew they was happening very quick, but I thought on the worst side, we might be talking about June. So the war has already started. War has broken out in heaven. That's phase one. Phase two is that Michael and his angels, that's Farad and his angels, the Shia, are going to war with the dragon, that's Al-Assad, and his Sunni angels, along with America, false Israel, and Britain. It's phase two. That could happen any time now. It may happen in June, but it will happen any time now. I suspect it will happen long before June, because today is the 17th of May. Could be any day now. That's Master Muhammad's call. All I know is that it will be between May and June, as I have been telling you, according to the angel. And so here's May, and the war did start, as I have been telling you. We have videos to confirm it. We do not lie and make up stories here. I've put out several videos, and I named them specifically The Law Before the Storm, and in them I mentioned that it would be a law between 5 and 7 months, starting from November 2020, which put us somewhere in the area between May and June of 2021. And here we are, and the war has started. War has broken out in heaven, in the Middle East. So, in light of that, I'm going to give, as time permits, video presentations of what I had planned to cover in the book. So I was going to name the book Breaking the Dumb Barrier. Breaking the Dumb Barrier. See, because most of us are in the dumb zone. We're traveling at the speed of dumb. See, because thought is force. We express our thoughts by sound waves, which is also force or pressure. So we talk about breaking a sound barrier. See, we need to break the thought barrier, the dumb barrier, because right now we're operating under the wisdom of the analytical mind. See, that's the mind that the sealed Bible was given to. When you study the sealed Bible, you study the analytical mind. as the mind of Dr. Yakub's creation. See? So the brain has two sides, the analytical and the spatial. See, we gave quasi-independence or personification to each side. So now we have the seed of Abraham, they primarily spatial, while Yakub's graphic creation are primarily analytical, and they're battling for preeminence here in America. The two, Dr. Yakub's creation and Dr. Shabazz creation. I shouldn't refer to Dr. Shabazz creation, even though it's correct in some ways, because he remade us. He took emphasized the dominant genes because our particular appearance was very rare. The woolly hair, the very pronounced features, that was very rare. That was the appearance of the God and the scientists. He took emphasized that until the whole tribe of Shabazz had those characteristics. So in a way, you can say we're his creation. So we're breaking the dumb barrier. So I intend to, as time permits, to give the book that I had intended to produce in video form, chapter at a time. So the first chapter will be Time Travelers, breaking the dumb barrier, because we've been limited by the dumb barrier. It's like caving, it was limited by the sound barrier until they finally broke the sound barrier with their jets. We've been limited to the dumb barrier. See? And it takes Suleiman to break the dumb barrier. See? So we're going to discuss time travelers in this one. So let's proceed, brothers and sisters. Two sides of the brain. Dumb barrier, breaking it. See? Okay, time. First, we have to understand what time is. See, time, first of all, is not a thing. No more than an inch is a thing. It's an idea, position. See? But an inch just measures something. Just measure something. It's not something in itself. It measures something. A foot, it measures something. A yard, it measures something. Time is a measurement of motion. It's like temperature. See, temperature is a measure of how fast atoms are moving or molecules are moving. It's a measurement. In mathematics, they call it a scalar. It's like a scale, scale. So they try to make you think time is something. So then they can sell you this idea about time machines and all such things as that. Hold a second here. Time machines and things like that. So you can move forward in time and back in time. No, you cannot. Because it's just a measurement. That's all it is. See, a day, from one point to another point. So it's just a measurement. See, how far you've gone in an hour, how far you're going in a minute. So there's three aspects to time. There's the future, there's the past, and there's the present. The future, the past, and the present. Now the future does not exist because by definition, you're not there yet. See, the past no longer exists. That's why by definition, it's past. It no longer exists. So all you have left is the present. But does the present exist? No, the present does not exist either. We said nothing exists? No, because the present is just a transition. The present is just a transition between the past and the present. Past and the future. You're transitioning between the past to the future. So you left the past behind, moving into the future that doesn't exist yet, right? And the present is just a transition. Because the present, okay, ask yourself, what's the present? You say, oh, today is the present, is it? In that sense, but it's not really the present because the day don't stand still. So there was a morning, they had segments into it. Morning, afternoon, evening. So what part of the present are you in? And that day, you say, what's part of it? What part of it? See, you move it through time even during the day. So say, oh, I'm in the afternoon. Okay, the afternoon's part is made of how many hours? So what part of the hour are you in the afternoon? What part of the minute? What part of the moment? So if I say, oh, I'm here right now, right? Okay, well now, by the time I say now it's already passed. So I've moved on to the future that doesn't exist yet. I know it gets complicated, but no, because they're not things, they're just measurements. So, like I mentioned dimensions. The first dimension is a long line. The zero dimension is just a point. So the present is just a point in time, right? But it's constantly moving because time constantly moving. So it doesn't stay still. So therefore you can't say you're in the present because before you can say it, you've already moved past that point in time. So the present is not a time, it's just a position that you're in instantaneously that doesn't last any period of time because time by definition is motion. So it means you can't be at that point at any point in time because time is motion. It means you had to move past it because you're in motion, because time is motion. We can't stand still. We're constantly moving. So hope you understand that. You understand what time is. You got the past, you got future, and you got the position, you get transition between the past and the future, which we call the present. We refer to it as the present, but most of us understand it. You have the past, it doesn't exist anymore. You have the future that doesn't exist because it hasn't got there yet. And you got the transition between the past and the future. Sounds complicated, right? Most of us never thought of it. But that's the fact. The past no longer exists. If it wasn't for your memory, you wouldn't have any knowledge of it whatsoever. It don't exist in your mind. But past no longer exists. You can't do anything with the past. You can't go back and do anything to it, nothing. It's beyond your reach. See? And the future is yet to exist. See, you can't do anything with it because you haven't got there yet. Every time you constantly moving, so the future's always ahead of you. That's by definition. The future's always ahead of you. So you're never there in the future. See? And the present, right, is just a transition between the future and the past and the future. See? So here we see that line, that red line there, that represents the position. He's it at any point in time. That's why I say point in time. See? But he's only there for a billionth of a second, 100 trillionth of a second. See? So no point in time at all. Okay, let's move on. Now see, he's moving forward in time. We all are moving forward in time. We all move forward in time, unless we don't exist anymore. We all move forward in time. That position keeps changing. As we move, the position keeps changing. That position doesn't stay. It's always constantly moving. So how you going to pin down now when now is always moving? Now never stands still. Only way you can have a now, you have to freeze all time. Time will have to stop. Whole universe have to stop for now. Right? But then you wouldn't have any time because the universe stops. There's no motion. You see, I don't want to mean to get too philosophical, too technical. But I'm saying this for a reason. Because we are time travelers. See, we're constantly moving through time. We are time travelers. We're constantly moving through time. From the day we come into existence, right? From time we come into existence as a sperm, we're moving through time. We're moving through time. See, in fact, we always are moving through time because our DNA, right, is in existence, and DNA is always moving through time. It takes different constructs, right? Sometimes it's sperm, sometimes it's, you as you are right now, right? See, a child, teenager, so it starts as sperm, right? See, then your embryo, then a baby, a toddler, a child, teenager. You constantly move through time. And the Quran tells you that at death, that's not the end, right? Because it talks about how do you bring life after death. Take 4 birds, teach them to climb to you. That's the 2 set of chromosomes you get from your mother, and 2 chromosomes you get from 2 sets of chromosomes you get from the father. So I'm not going to go into the details of that. See? But teaching the client to you, right? It means you teach them to learn to control it. And then you command them, they come, you find, they come back together. Because you place them all over the place. That's all your relatives are. So your DNA is constantly changing forms. It's because we're immortal beings. We're constantly moving through time in different forms. Okay, move on. So let's mention that. You got the past, no longer exists. The future does not yet exist. And you got the transition between the past and the future. See, it's just a point, it's just a line. It has no time. It's just, it doesn't have no length to it. So that means it has no time. Because time is length. The past has length. Future is length. But the present has no length. See? In this case, since it's vertical, I say she had no width. See? Because the distance between time and the past and the future, right? There's no time in between the past and the future. Because the past immediately turns into the future. The past is constantly turning into the future. So there's really no present. It's just an idea we used, to operate. Just, okay, let's move on. Now, see, we're time travelers. We're constantly moving through time. See, but you see that one right there? He's not moving through time anymore. He's not moving through time anymore. He's lost in time. He's dead. See? Or he's mentally dead. We'll talk about that in a minute. He's not moving through time anymore. See? So he's lost in the past. He's lost in the past. Now we got those that are dead, they're lost in the past. See? Let me put it another way. He's not moving through time in that form anymore. His DNA is still moving through, unless it's been somehow terminated. See? Because you take the cave, for instance, we never gave their DNA existed in us, but we never personified it, right, until 6,000 years ago. So it was moving through time too, but not as a personification, as a person. Their DNA was there. Their DNA was in us. So it was moving a long time along. It was moving doing time along with us, They just never took form. We never gave them form. As Quran said, we never gave them backs. See? So they're no longer moving. So in this person, he's no longer moving in time in that form anymore. Because that person there, we stopped him from moving in time in that particular form. He's still moving to form the DNA. All the DNA is all there. There's a limited amount of DNA. See, there's not an infinite amount of DNA. In other words, say you have a combination of 1, 2, 3. How many ways can you represent 1, 2, 3? 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, right? 3, 1, 2. So only about 6 ways that you can represent 3, 2, 1. See, so we have a limited amount of DNA, a specific number. I believe it's 24, 23, 24 in combination. And there's not an infinite amount of combinations. So that means at some point they have to repeat themselves. It's not an infinite amount. That tells you right there, right? Because if your combination is 3, 2, 1, sooner or later 3, 2, 1's come up again. Like you go to a slot machine, right? They got a limited amount of combinations. So eventually, this combination, no matter how complicated it is, will come up again. See? So it's either be random, meaning you can't control it, it just comes in any kind of way, or you control it and say, this combination will come up at this particular time. See, we control, that's why it says, take your DNA, take the 4 birds, and train them and climb you, means you get control of them. And then when you call them, so we control them, so we call them, right, they will come back together. So we control that process. That's why we don't allow fornication and adultery, that kind of stuff, because you screw the process up. That's what's the idea of arranged marriages, all that kind of stuff came in, because that's how you control it. It's not that you don't force arranged marriage on men or women. This arrangement that you come with other people, right, to bring that process forward, to complete that process. See, you get together and say, okay, you have this set of chromosomes, you got this set of DNA, we have this. If we can agree and we put these together, these two people together, in this particular time, right, they're going to bring this result. See, so we all have a core combination, because every time you come back to existence, you're going to come back a little different because the circumstances change, but your core will remain the same. That's you. That's you. I don't want to. This is a topic for another presentation. But I need to understand this a little bit here for what we're going to talk about. Okay. Now, time maker. You hear me talk about time makers in the past. See, these are what the Quran and the Bible calls disbelievers. See, they're not moving forward in time mentally, or their bodies are still moving, but mentally they're not. See, the reason why he shows 2 arrows there, the red arrows, what's going on there is that's your perception. See, we see, we hear, we feel, we touch, but all of those senses, the sensory perception, is based on a non-existent now. See, that's how it gets complicated. I don't want to get too complicated here, but we said now doesn't exist. It doesn't. But our sense perception is based on the now. What do I mean by that? You see what's happening right in front of you. You can't see what's happening in the past. You can't see what's happening in the future. Only you see what's present right before you, right at that instant. Now I'm taking this to a very tight degree. It's a little more relaxed I'm saying, but I need to say it this way to make the point. See, because it's a little more detailed than what I'm saying. But what you feel what happened right now. You don't feel what happened in the past. Maybe you might remember it, but you don't feel what happened in the past. Say, well, man, I got hit by a car, I still feel it. No, you feel what's happening. How you feel. That's how you feel right now. See, you don't hear what happened in the past. You hear what's happening right now. See, because your sensories is based on the now. All your whole sensory, all your sensories, your sensory system is based on the now. And that's what's happening with time anchors. That's why they're stuck in the now. Because they totally dependent upon their sensory perception. See? So it's how they feel right now, what they see right now. As you give them a script and they go by that script because that's what they have in front of them. They also scriptees. Scriptees are fall in that category too. Time anchors. They're lost in time. Now move forward in time. See, they tell you things like, hey man, they no more messages come in, any more problems come in, ain't this, because they all always talk about now. They ain't, or even something even worse. All the time about the past. See, but that's still even based on their present sensory perception. Because they're blind to the future. But we're moving into the future. You get the problem here? It's like you're blind, but you're driving down the road with in a car. You're blind, but you're driving down the highway in a car. You see the problem? So you know what's going to happen. Because they're blind to the future. But yet, that's the way we move it. We constantly move into the future. That's where the disbeliever and the believer comes in. Because the believer is always being given information about the future that they respond to, right? That a warning is about something that hasn't happened yet. See? So it's about the future. As they give us scripture or something about the future, things that is going to happen. And so why they respond to that? They can't. Their sense reception is not going to deal with it. Their eyes not going to deal with that in the future. Eyes not going to comprehend that. Their hearing is not going to comprehend that. Their feeling is not going to comprehend that. But they see, because the time makers they lost is totally dependent upon their sensory perception, which is focused on the present, on the now. But they're moving into the future. I mean, they're moving blind into the future. That's why they're disbelievers. So they won't crash and burn because they're moving blind into the future. But the time travelers, the believers, right, because they're both time travelers, only time makers, right? They're not traveling in the future of their mind because their sensory perception can't travel to the future. Their sensory perception is based on the now. Their sensory perception is based on the now. They're lost in the now. Those will tell you about the now or the past. They have no knowledge of the future. None. They try to say, well, some try to estimate the future based on the past. But that's like walking backwards and trying to just because what you saw behind you is that's in front of you. Well, if you walking down the street looking backwards, you know what's going to happen to you. If you think that's the way it was forward, see, because that that's what KV does, right? He looks at the past and try to make perceptions about the future based on the past. So he's blind too. That's what KV do. That's the information you get. You go in there and they tell you, oh, time repeats itself. See, they go back and look at how things happened in the past and project how the future is going to be based on what happened in the past. Because they're lost back in the past. You can't do that. I mean, you might get some utility out of that, but you're not going to get very far. You know, you're walking down the street, right? Walking backwards. You're looking backwards, and you're assuming that what's in front of you looks exactly like what's behind you. See, you may get lucky for a while, maybe, but you're gonna crash and burn. And that's what analytical mind is giving you. They tell you, oh well, they tell you, always tell you about the past history, and try to say, well, watch these. They do these so-called what they do these when they go out and do statistics and polling and all that kind of stuff, and you look at how things happened in the past, and then they make some projection how the future is going to be based on how things happened in the past, and you take that as wisdom. They take that as wisdom. Yet they still keep falling into all kinds of trouble. Why? Because they're crashing and burning, because the future is not like the past. The future is the future, and the past is the past. So these time makers, they're lost mentally in the past because they don't react to the future. They don't know. They can't actually, because they have no way of perceiving the future. So that they're disbelievers. But so how's the believers do it then? Right? I mean, because they're given information, the same information that the time makers are given, but time makers don't act on it, but the believers, they do. So we're going to talk about that. Foresight. See, this world is based on their sensory perceptions. Eyes, the eye is the most important one. They say, because they say your eyes don't lie. I mean, they rely primarily on their eyes, more than the ears, more than touch, anything. The eyes is the most powerful sense that they react to. If they see it, then they believe it. See? So they powerful telescopes or powerful microscopes and everything, so they can see, then they understand it. Because they can't see it, they get lost. Like their physics. Their physics is based on what they can see, but they can't see atoms. They can't see it. It's impossible to see atoms with microscopes. So they have to try to guess what atoms look like, and they got it all wrong. That's why I call it theories. See? But so how do you get in? How do you walk into the future? If we are blind. That's called foresight. But that's a sensory perception that the analytical mind does not recognize, right? Does not appreciate, right? See? Does not respect. So where's foresight? See? That's another sensory perception. That's a spatial mind because it relies not on sight. See? It says we do not walk by sight, but by faith. Is that what Scripture says? We do not walk by sight, but you understand what faith is? Faith is based on facts. Faith is not belief. Faith is based on fact. So we don't walk by sight. So that's the analytical mind. They walk by sight. That means they're blind because you can't see into the future. But walk by faith, what you can see in the future with faith. It's like you see a pot boiling, you see a pot boiling by faith. You can't see it, right? Because you said to you turn around, you can't see it with your eyes until it actually gets to the boiling point. But we turn on, you know it's going to boil by faith because of experience, because of knowledge, because of mathematics. And that's the sensory that they don't have. That's the sensory that the spatial mind, that's the creative side. See, because it is based on mathematics. And so mathematics is what gives the believer the advantage over the disbeliever because they see the mathematics of it. And so therefore they can, the better their mathematics is, the better they can perceive. See, they would like to say see, because you see the future. You can't see the future. But they always use see. Do you see that, man? You see what's coming? No? Man, we need to look into the future. They say use the word like, because sight is so use sight is the most powerful one. See, they use that's the most powerful sensory. So they use it for future reference, past reference, present reference. That's the highest. See. So that's why the language is limited, right, to sight. That's why it's all over the language. And so even here, in foresight, you still got the word in there. See, They say, well, it's sight, but you see it beforehand. But you really can't see it beforehand. So that's a bad word in itself. But we use it. See, it's better to say perception. That's better. And don't even do that with mathematics. Just like you can see, right? See, there I go. You can see eclipse coming. You can't see an eclipse coming. But you can't see an eclipse coming. You can perceive it's coming. Why? Through mathematics. And since you have faith in your mathematics, then you know it's coming. You know. You don't have to see it with your eyes. You know it's coming. But the person is looking, they'll never see it with their eyes until it's actually happened. There's not the future anymore, is it? Once they see it, it's not future anymore. So they never saw the future because you can't see the future. But you can perceive it. See? You can perceive it. See? So we keep using foresight. That's why I got the arrow going. See? Because you can see where it's going. They took that away from us. See? There's a way they took that away from us. See? Because Dr. Yakub, he doesn't have that ability. His highest sensory perception is sight. They took insight, foresight, insight, but still sight, right? They still say sight. This is wrong, right? Because sight is, they limit to sight. See, they took that away from us. See? And so, but we have the ability to do it, we just don't know it, and we haven't cultivated it because we don't realize we have it, we don't even know where it is. And they took us off, they started that process 35,000 years ago. Dr. Buddha took us off the mathematical standard. See? Into religion. See? So religion, no foresight. See? So they give you scripture, but even the scripture, they don't believe it, they get all mixed up, they can't make sense of it. So it's no good to them. It's like giving glasses to a blind man. See? So we were given a scripture, this unsealed Bible says it took Suleiman to do that, right? See? What will give you foresight? See? That would give, it's like giving you glasses. See? They made you nearsighted, now they give you glasses. But that just gives you that. But the point is that it's like you go in, you have a map going down, so you follow that map, right? So you have faith in that map. You believe that map, you follow the map. That's pretty much what the angel is doing for you. See, it's preparing you for something. See, because what you need is you not only need a map, but you need to control the process of moving into the future. You need to control the vehicle, and that's the 5 pillars of Islam. See, because that gives you control, gives you time travel, control, time travel, right? Control. We all travel through time, right? It's like driving down the highway, right? With no steering wheel. See, you throw on the gas with no steering wheel. 5 pillars of Islam gives you a steering wheel. See, so it'll crash and burn. So now, right, you have a steering wheel, and you can see. So now, no problems. Someone don't have a steering wheel, they can't see, they can crash and burn. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So when the 5 pillars of Islam, that gives you control of your time travel. See? So you move along, because that is the five fundamental principles of Islam that covers the wisdom of pressure, all of it. So once you apply those, then you can decide what direction you're going, how fast you're going. See? So if you crash and burn after that, because that's on you. See, because you know, right? If you apply those things, right, then you're going to have a positive future. See, no crashes, no surprises, no hurricanes. See, no tornadoes, no earthquakes. See, smooth path. See, you have plenty of gas. See, plenty of energy because you're applying the fourth, third, no, the fourth, excuse me, the fourth. Fasting, you're gonna have plenty of gas. See, much energy. See, you're gonna have good weather because you're applying the third one. It's a cow. So taking everything you're giving, so to maintain your balance, have good weather. See, because remember, you can't see it with your eyes. You can't see it. You can't feel it. You can't touch it. You can't hear it because you're moving through time. So you want to be able to move through time. You want to be able to perceive your way through time. You don't be driving down the highway blind. So you want to go through time, blind, without perception, without foresight. And if you're going through there without the five pillars, then that's where you're going. You're going through blind. And most of you know that because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. See, you understand? So that means you're traveling blind because you're traveling into tomorrow, but you don't know what's going to happen. That's like, I'm driving down the road, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm driving, I'm out, I have no steering wheel, I'm throwing the gas, but then you say, I'm going, I don't know, who's knowing what's happening. That's what David said. Nobody knows the future of the brain. Yeah, but you're traveling through the future. Don't you want to know what the hell how you traveling, what direction you're going in, how fast you're going? That you ain't go, if you go in the right direction, that you ain't going, run into something? And that's what the five pillars does for you. So first of all, consequence, right? That right, that you can be confident, right, in the other four. Because you understand consequence. That your actions has a consequence. See? Then you got the second one, right? You stable. You see? You're confident. Because see, all this is you got a senses, but your brain's a sense also, sensory. It takes all the other ones, but it puts them all together. It takes in the sight, the hearing, right? The feeling, but also the thinking, right? And they took you off of that the thinking, the mathematical side, exercise the spatial side. That perception they took away from you 35,000 years ago. They gave you religion. They blinded you. So now you walk to the future, you have no idea where you're walking. See, because we know the future, because we think the scriptures come from. We know that stuff. You have to know that because you travel throughout the universe. So we're foresight people. Like Muhammad told you that. We're foresight people. They took that away from us. And they took us off the mathematical standard, and they took us away from the five mathematical pillars of Islam. Because once they took you off the mathematical standard, they placed you in religion. And after all other stuff follows. So in other words, you follow the five pillars of belief, which are blinding you, which have you blind. But when you adopt the five pillars, mathematical pillars of Islam, right, then you see, and then your sight becomes better and better and better the more you apply and study them. See, it's like they close your eyes. Remember, that's what they did to Samson. They put his eyes out. He got his strength back, but his eyes didn't come back. That's what it's done to us. It blinds us. See? And that's what says Suleiman's job is restore your sight. Restore your sight. Because if you drive down the highway and you're blind, First of all, you be a fool, you're going to go slow. You're going to go very slow. See, but once you can see, and you got plenty of energy, you're going to go fast. Fast, you allowed to go. So once you get started applying the 5 pillars of Islam, right, then now you can move into the future fast running because you're not worried about anything. And the way you act in life is going to be totally different because you're not be afraid. See, that comes in the second pillar. No good fear because you're not fear of the future. See, everybody else is fear, they're afraid of the future. So they're very timid. Well, I'm sure if I'm going to do this, I'm not sure that they're always, confused. See, trying to, well, what should I do? Guessing. But you go with firm, you're firm. That's what Abraham said, make firm until you're firm. See? And you're sure about yourself. And you're moving rapidly, you see. And you leave all the other people behind because they're going slow, because they know right? Because they're afraid they're going to run to something, right? So now they got to apply that 5 tools of belief. See, alcohol calm their nerves because you've been nervous. I mean, if you move into the future, right, blind, you're gonna be anxious. You're gonna be nervous. You always be worried. That's where worry comes from. Why you worry? If you're not blind, why are you worrying? Worry comes from being blind. Anxious comes from being blind because you don't know what's going to happen. See, so they gotta take something for that. See, so alcohol. See. So they have to take some, so they found 5 pillars. They teach us to follow 5 pillars of belief. See, religion, alcohol, gluttony, capitalism, get all the money you can get, right? Democracy, confusion. But when you follow 5 pillars, hey, you moving down, right? And now you get others to do the same thing. So now you not have many wrecks or train, trash and all that kind of stuff. So everybody's moving it and following the rules, moving down so you move fast. With everybody driving safely and same speed and everything else, you move as fast as you want to. But if you got a lot of people out there, blind, you're gonna be hit. Then what sense does it make if you can see and you go 100 miles an hour, but you got all these clouds ahead? It's not. I mean, they're still gonna be in your way. So you won't be able to move as fast as you want to move because they're all in your way. That's where harmony comes in. You get everybody right, start seeing. Once everybody sees, then bam, you got how fast you want to go. You understand, brothers and sisters? So let me move on to let me check something else here first. I want to talk about a couple of other things, then we're going to close it out. Okay, here, perception. So the red lines there out that show, right, your perception. But the black one there, it shows you have perception. See? See, in other words, future perception. The red line shows present. That's the limit of your normal sensory perception. The present, how you feel, how you see, right? How you hear. But the other one shows mental, right? The application of 5 pillars of Islam. Now you have future perception. You can see more into the future. There moves a lot of problems that most people have. Hypertension, anxiety, anxiousness, worry, fear. Understand, brothers and sisters? That's up to you. So when you go in, and like I said, you have to understand the balance. Everyone gets the same amount of energy. So if you go out there and you start violating those principles, and you want to be callous and all you have, you're throwing your balance off. So that means you walk into a negative future with hurricanes, volcanoes, and tornadoes. You walk into it in fear. See? Blind. See? With low energy. slowly, because every action is accompanied by immediate, instantaneous reaction. See? So if you don't get rid of anything, only thing is that sometimes you just don't see it because of the way our creation is, right? So you do something wrong or evil that throws that balance off, right? So you stole $1,000, so now you got $1,000, right, with a bad energy, or negative energy, or bad luck. See, which might be accumulating. So now you got to also now you cultivate an ulcer. See, and this goes on for like 5 years, right? So now, right? So now that's $100 a day for 5 years. Where's that? $100 a day for 10 years, right? Let's just say $10 a day, make it easy. That'd be $3,650 times 10, $36,650, right? So now you don't accumulate that much bad luck. I mean, that tumor is built that bad. So now you're going to go to the doctor, found an operation that costs you $36,000. You understand, brothers and sisters? Maybe so surgery that cost you that amount. And you can't say, oh, man, that's some bad luck. But you didn't figure out all this stuff. So, or you mess around and you stealing, right? And then you get a partner. You run this partner, right? And then embezzle all you stole. Because you're going to be put back. Look, before you leave this planet, right, your account will be settled. So now, oh man, hey, you stole everything I had. Well, where did you get it from? That's what's happening to America right now. They thought it was giving away everything that they took. They got to pay for it. It's going to be taken away from them. They're going to pay for all of it. They're paying for it already. Like I said, it builds up. So it was their enemies. They created their enemies. They created China by their actions. Then you create that tumor. That requires the evil, where it comes from? It comes from your hands. You create it. On the other hand, step by step. So, step by step, by our sacrifice. See, Pharaoh can't tell, well, you evil. That's a lie. Because we made a sacrifice. So every day, right, that they were stealing from us, right? Because everybody gets the same amount. So the same thing. If you take more than you're supposed to have, you build negative. But somebody's taking from you, right, and you have less you're supposed to have, then you build up positive energy. Good luck. So therefore, every day that they was taken from us, we was building a step closer to paradise. See, that was guiding us to paradise. See? So we had faith. So our people had faith. We didn't give up, we had faith. So we had lost the knowledge of it, but we knew instinctively that we was going to be rewarded for what we was doing. And so we was being rewarded, because what was our reward? We would step closer and closer to paradise. Each was a step closer to paradise. Each good deed was a step closer to paradise. You understand? So now we at this finish line. Now we just got to cross the finish line. They're doing everything they can to cause us to not finish the finish line. Reparations. So now we take payment. If they take payment, so remember, okay, look at it this way. They took $100, $10 a day from you. Boom, 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 boom. So now, they say for instance, I'm not trying to do the calculation. They took $10 million from each one of us. So we had $10 million with positive energy with 10 million steps, right? Because that's the way we took it. We took steps towards paradise. That's how we used our positive energy, making steps towards paradise. So now we're at the finish line. See, we paid each step. We paid each step, so now we're there. Right? $10 million. That's what it cost us to get to paradise. Right? See? And we got that because they were taking us, so That's how we use the positive energy he was getting. So we get right to the finish line. $10 million is what you want to us, right? Because we're going to give you reparations. Now, if you take the reparations, right, then you put yourself right back to the beginning again. Do you understand? You put yourself right back to the beginning again. So you put yourself right back to the beginning because you already paid step by step to get there. Now you took that $10 million. So now instead of paradise, you got $10 million. You right back to where you start the whole process again. Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. I'm trying every kind of way to get this information to you that you understand. So they're trying to buy you out. See, and if you take that, you step roundly back, and you was right there to meet God. He was there at the finish line to give you a reward, and you just had one more step to make, and they brought you up and put you way back. You 10 minutes, you way back 40 years away from God. Because he honored contracts. I mean, he's a mathematician. You did it to yourself. They're trying to buy you out. Hope you understand. This is mathematics, bro. It's not something I just pull out there behind and call the honey. Like Farrakhan, he's part of the process trying to get you, give you some 6 states. That states don't even belong to them. They give you something that don't even belong to them. But if you go fall for it, then they got you. Because everything costs. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. See, 5 pillars of Islam, right, allows you to walk, run into the future. You can perceive it, it's clear to you. It's clear in sight. Because actually, as your sight is your most powerful perception, as far as cave is concerned, Yaakov's graph for devils, perception is almost much more powerful than that. Because it allows you, right, not only to comprehend what's in front of you, what's about you, but to perceive what's going to happen before it happens, to perceive the future. So it's our most powerful perception. Their eyes is their most powerful perception. See? So we can figure out the universe, everything else. Here, they have to see it to believe it. They have to see it to believe it. See? We don't. See? We can perceive it. That's creativity. Creativity is an act of bringing something into existence that doesn't exist right now. It's a future process. It's a time process. That's creativity. And we have it. And we're trying to give it back to you. And we're not really trying to give it back to you. You have it. You're just not aware. So we're trying to cultivate it. It's like you have muscles, but they're not developed. You have to go to the gym to develop them. So you got it, but it has to be developed. See, yeah, Farrakhan, well, you need to think analytically. That's what he tells you, because that's what he thinks. Because him, that's the highest perception. No, you need to think spatially. You understand pressure. You understand how these things works, how the universe works. That's the wisdom. See, so teach him, send him a messenger to give him the book, the wisdom. What's that? Give him the book and the wisdom. See, so whatever the book is the angel, and the wisdom. That's pressure. See, but there's somebody to give it to you. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So this is my first, right, I call it Mach 1, but that's breaking the sound barrier, breaking the dumb barrier. So we're time travelers. So how are you traveling through time? You traveling blind? Are you running into stuff? You crashing and burning? See? Because if you don't have five, you don't have five, because you was doing that before you got the 5 foot. Those of you that studying 5 foot, you was doing that before that. But now once you get that, then you can move, you step on the gas, because now you got plenty of energy. You step on the gas, right? And you go as fast as you want to go without worry, because you're doing the second principle, right? You don't have any fear. So you're not fear of moving fast. right? And you got plenty of energy, so you got a lot of gas, so you step on the pedal, right? See? And you got consequence, right? So now, right? And so then you got, right, the third principle, I mean, the fourth one, right? I keep getting those backwards. The third one is Sakat, right? So now you got good weather. Plenty of worried about snow and rain, slides, and all kind of stuff. So you're going down the highway driving, right? You can see, right? You got plenty of energy, right? You got good weather. See? And you have all those blind people out there driving their cars, right? That's gonna crash into you and everything because you got harmony, because you got everybody else driving, can see too. So now you got a clean highway, right? Everybody's driving, everybody can see, everybody got perception, right? So nobody's crashing. So you got everybody crashing, somebody fool crashing into you. You understand? That's why you need the 5 pillars. Because you're moving through time. You're a time traveler. So Leo's time makers alone. See, because they're lost and they don't want to go forward. See? So, because remember, you don't have to worry about them because you're moving through time, they're not. So they're going to be behind you, lost. Remember, the time fast does not exist, so they won't exist. The longer, every day, they get further and further behind you until they're no more. See, they're just physically there until time just takes care of that problem. See, and you're moving on in time. See, and you're applying right. Remember the 4 birds? So then you transition from one form to another. We're not talking about reincarnation and come back animal, that kind of stuff. No, it tells you. Take 4 birds, teach them to climb to you. See? Then you call it, learn to control them, then you call them, and they come together flying. See? So you move on in time. See, in this form, the DNA takes this form, and then it takes another form, right? And you come sperm again, and you repeat the process again, right? And your core combination, that's you, right? But your outer combination be a little different because the sperm gets to the egg. The egg is going to be every day, it can be a little different. Every time you come, the egg's going to be a little different. The sperm's always going to be the same. The egg's going to be a little different. That means the egg adapts you to the new situation. So you be taller, right? Or bigger, taller, or, you still be a male, you still be a female, but you'll be different just in the new tech, because time moves on. So you be taller, wherever the case may be. You look a little different. And depends on the time difference. So that means you stay in sync with time. You don't want to be around 6 feet tall or 5 feet tall when everybody else is 8 feet tall. So the egg is going to give you the material to be 8 feet tall next time. You understand, brothers and sisters? But that particular thing is for a topic for another. But I'm bringing that in because it's part of moving through time. In fact, all of us are part of moving through time in one way or another, because that's what we're time travelers. We are time travelers. Understand that. But time only goes one way. You're not going backwards. You're not going back to the past. And you can't stay in the present, because the present just transitions between the past and the future. But there are those that's trying to hold on to what they call the present. I think I said it wrong. The present is just transition point between the past and the future. It doesn't exist because you're constantly moving. You're converting the past into the future. And the present just transition from the past into the future. So it is. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. You're time travelers. So how do you want to travel through times? You want to travel blind? When we ride down that time highway, right, blind, with no energy, in fear, with hurricanes and tornadoes and slippery roads. Is that how you want to travel now? Because that's the 5 pillars of belief, or you want to travel down with the 5 pillars of Islam, so you have perception, so now you can perceive the future without fear, without tornadoes and rain and snow, right? With plenty of energy, with no roadblocks and speed humps, right? And drunk drivers. How you want to travel through time, brothers and sisters? How do you want to travel through time? Because you're traveling. And do you want to continue traveling? Right? Or you want to be restricted, put in prison so you can't travel, right? Like everybody else. So now, right, your DNA is traveling, right, as DNA, not in the form, right, not together in a physical form. So the birds will stay fly. They're on every mountain. They never come together. So so your DNA is still traveling through time, just not as not as the personification as a person. Like I said, the devil's DNA was traveling through time for 76 trillion years. They never came. We never allowed it to come into a being until last 6,000 years ago. And now we're going to terminate, so it'll never come back in again. But it's still traveling through time, though, because it was traveling through time in us. We can bring them back to creation again. We can always bring them back to creation again, because we can do the same process that Dr. Yaqub did, right? Because we got superior genes, so we can always bring them back into existence again. But we're not going to do it. We close the door on them. See, that's why you have to be in the Lamb's Book of Life. You're in the Lamb's Book of Life. The book is closed on you. We're not going to allow you to come, because we control, right, the process. And so we're going to close the door on them. See? And if you're a time maker and you're resisting and you're not in the Lamb's Book of Life, we close the door on you too. We'll close the door on you too. See? But we're not going to close the door right away when Yaqub's grabbed the creation. So we're going to let them continue going through time in their belief matrix, in hell. See, we're going to let them travel for a few hundred more years, at least 400, so they can taste what they gave to us. And then we're going to shut the door. That's what it says in the Quran. That's the hell. There'd be, what's it called, 60 cubics, 70 cubics, they call it. Some people take that to be 70 years. See, it says they're going to still travel through time, but in hell. It says they're going to be so healthy, though, because we're going to get all the energy coming. It's going to, energy come, everybody's going to get the same amount of energy. Everybody gets the same amount of energy. They're going to get energy too, but they're going to be in hell with it. So it means they're going to be very so healthy that, as the Quran says, the skin, when the skin burns off their flesh, and we'll allow to give them new skins. That means they'll be healed instantly, almost instantly, from any fire that burns them up. That means they'll be able, it says they'll be given refuge to eat. It says that even Bible, that's what even Jesus said that. It says they'll be given garbage to eat. They'll be in hell eating refuge, garbage, feces, and drinking urine, but it will not kill them because they'll be so healthy. Is that the kind of hell you want to be in? You can't die? See? And the only thing you eat is garbage, refuse, urine, and manure, but it won't kill you because you'll be so healthy, your body will just keep healing you. So that's what you want to eat. And they will have no friends, no family relationships, that all their bounds will be broken. They'll be afraid of each other. So they won't have no friendships. They will be, each one will be alone in their hell. And they'll be scared of each other. Because if you got nothing to eat but urine and feces, then you're going to be eating each other. And the Quran and Jesus said the worm will not die. That means their sexual desire will not be satiated, just like the rabbits, they don't stop. So whereas their sexual desire, they have sex, but still will be just as strong as it was before they had. You understand? So, and they're being satisfied. So they be chasing these women, and women be running from them because they're not going to be eaten. If they catch them, they be copulating women, eating them at the same time, eating them at the same time. And the woman be fighting like hell to get away, and he's grabbing, holding onto her to copulate, right? And then she gets pregnant. If she survives not being eaten, she gets pregnant, right? Then what happens? If she gives birth to a baby, right? She's gonna drop that baby just like all animals do and keep going. And then children be running around, right? Afraid to get be eaten because they caught to get be eaten. That's the hell they're going through. That's the real hell, not this stuff they talk about. And it's gonna last for a long time. And then we satisfied that, you know, if they see what they did to us, they paid the full price for that. They have. Then we're gonna shut the book, close the book on them. Not coming back to this again ever. So they're traveling through time too. But see, this is the hell they're traveling through because everything they was doing to us, they was paying for it. You pay for everything you do. They was paying, so they was walking to this hell. Every time they was ripping off people, taking people's land, you understand, doing stuff they was doing to us. Step by step, they was walking to this hell. And we was walking steps by them taking what they take from us. We was walking close to paradise. See? Now Farrakhan's telling us, trying to convince us to be nice to them. Don't do this to them. We can't do them what they did to us. But yet still the scripture tells us what you have done shall be done to you. Scripture tells. But who's going to be doing it then? If it's not us, if we're not repenting for what they've done to us. You understand, brothers and sisters? So he's trying to get them off the hook. Because he's one of them. Step by step, they was walking to this hell, and step by step was walking to paradise. Now they're trying to get us to sell out our paradise, and they're trying to get us, right, to save them from their hell. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. See, this is the first phase, or the Mach 1, if you want to call it, of the presentation called, right, breaking the dumb barrier. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. We talk about the 5 pillars of Islam. Hope you understand. 5 mathematical pillars of Islam. That's your perception into the future, so you can walk into the future. Perception, illuminated. I hate to say the word see, because that rejects the sight. The perception, so you understand, so you can move quickly, because you can perceive it clearly, more clearly than you can see things. Because when you see things, but that all you're seeing is the present. So now you'll be able to see, that's a bad word, I don't like to use that word for that, but you see the future just as clearly as you can see the present. So that means you can move through it without fear, right? That's the second pillar, right? See, move through it, right? With no hurricanes, clear, no hurricanes, no bad weather, right? Plenty of energy, see? And clear roads, because you don't have any all these drunk driving like us out there, because Harlem, you got everybody else driving clearly too. That's why you got rid of these demons and everything, right? So it's just Islam. I would say we'll keep on until there's only one religion, which is not a religion, Islam. That means now you got clear roads. Move fast you want to, clear roads, no obstacles, no fear, plenty of energy, good weather. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Salam alaikum.